Hello there, traders, and welcome back. Welcome back to 10 Academy's Monday's webinar. So this webinar, as it's titled Success Ingredients or Ingredients to Successful Trading, has been broken up and planned for the week ahead as well. So we've touched on one of the elements within the 10 Academy's dashboard. And basically, we've touched on the economic calendar. So what I was thinking of covering this week, especially today, the 28th of November 2022, is on the usage or combination of both the news section of the TenAcademy's dashboard, as well as the tools that we have actually talked about, especially the heat map. So how do we actually attach these two elements and then would actually be reflected onto your TenTrade platform or your MT5, and then we can actually proceed in doing a better technical or trend analysis. So that's what it will be about for today. So without further ado, what I will actually show you is the news section. Now, the news section has been provided to all traders by the forexmirror.net. So forexmirror.net amalgamates all the sources and then filters out the right type of headlines or breaking news for us as CFDs traders, especially Forex traders, or even crypto, touches on cryptos, touches on FX, news, currencies, as well as stocks, but most importantly, on some fundamentals as well. And this is where the volatility has always been driven by mostly fundamental, and then you can actually see the reflection on these moves on your chart. So this is where we could actually start off your day by entering or assessing the TenAcademy's dashboard and then clicking onto the news section. So this is where you would actually be seeing the news section right here. We've got two available languages. Just click onto the language that fits you best. So in this case, it's English for me, and then I click onto when I click on it, it'll just pop up with all these boxes. These boxes basically represents or reflects the current or breaking news at this moment of time. So it gets not renewed, but it gets updated and refreshed every couple of minutes or so, maybe 10, on average 10 to 15 minutes or so. It gets updated with fresh news and fresh headlines or breaking news as well. So here, this is where I would like to pinpoint the essentialness of understanding the breaking news for the day for us as traders. Now, we could actually also be looking at news releases that are basically going to move the market a lot more than the other news. So it gets filtered out onto news that specifically moves the market and triggers volatility, because volatility is, as all of you may remember me saying this quite frequently, is that volatility is the lifeblood of the forex trading market. So it is going to move the market, giving you opportunities, also risk. But this is where we come into the picture at 10.academy or 10Academy in guiding you through on how to research, analyze the market, picking the right pair for the day to actually trade as well. And we could then go through the trade plan systematically and in a very organized manner. So this is where we could actually start off with is the news section. And as you can see as well, when you click onto one of it, it'll give you more detail, of course, of the current news. You can actually have a read. But what's most important is looking at the headlines and the breaking news headlines as well, and then combining it with the FX heat map that's available here within the tools section that we have actually covered on the heat map, if I'm not mistaken, last week as well as the week before. So this is going to be really essential for us to combine the usage of both the news tool and the FX heat map tool as well, available all on this dashboard, TenAcademy's dashboard. So let's get going by looking at headlines first. Now we can actually notice that we have got the first box right here. Now the first box on the left, and then followed by all the other boxes, they get, sort of renewed and refreshed, with the current ones being the most on the left side. So I would say that this one here, would be the latest one, because you can actually see that it's been released here on this date as well. When you click on it, it'll give you the details of where this news is from, or what the source is. It could actually be FX Street, could be Daily FX, it could be various other sources out there, but it has been filtered to being the most popular in a way, or current news that are actually moving the markets the most at this moment of time. So we have got Australian dollar versus the US dollar. It's got a headline here giving us a little bit of a hint, saying that it's currently consolidating, or in other words, going through a sideways type market, and the emotions involved are usually uncertainty. So this is really a very important point to just take a look at. Firstly, the type of instrument. What's the news about? It could actually be from a technical perspective, economic data releases perspective, or current or breaking news perspective. So we just want to be aware that, okay, we have actually got some news surrounding the Australian dollar versus the USD. We need to actually look at AUD, or Australian dollar crosses. Now, this is where we then go on to the heat map as well, to notice what are the most moving currencies and currency pairs that has got, or sort of hinting us a little bit of a trend that it is actually taking place, or a trend that is taking place at this moment of time. So with that, we could see the following news is the German top 40 stocks. It hit critical resistance. So basically it means that, it has actually been going up, it has been bullish, but then it's hitting resistance at the moment, where a reversal is expected. So here we've got more news on it. Once you've actually clicked on it, you've got more to read about it, and then you can actually take it further into analyzing it deeper, of course. But here we want to actually make sure that we understand the current news from just the headlines, and then matching that with the heat map, in order for us to be able to pick out the right pair for the day to actually trade. The right pair, meaning the right pair with clear, smooth, and strong trend, but most importantly, it's actually riding onto some volatility driven or triggered by news, event, economic data releases, or any other event that could actually heighten volatility. Because volatility, as I've said it before and many times over, it is the lifeblood of the forex market, especially. Okay, all right, there we go. And then we go on to the euro versus the CHF. We could see that it's hinting us about the breakout, that it's awaiting or expecting a breakout. But here we've got something really important that we need to understand as well. We've got a snippet of news that mentioned a little bit about euro softened after the ECB officials played down wage pressure. So it's got to do with wages, it's got to do with employment, unemployment data as well. So we want to also combine whatever that we can actually see with the economic calendar as well. So we've released the recording of that session about 2 weeks ago. I think we've covered quite intensively the tool on the economic calendar. How do you actually filter out medium to high impact economic data releases only, and then use that as your tool to understand that we are expecting volatility for that particular cross or pairs, and also from that particular country. Okay, so especially if it comes under or categorized or has been categorized as medium to high impact news. So there we go. Now we've got Euro CHF right there, and you would notice that I've moved from the left and going towards the right. So that's the most recent news on the left, basically. Okay, and then we've got GBP USD released earlier today as well, and we could see that it's got some hints in within that snippet of the further paragraphs are not actually included there, but just like a sort of summary for the first few lines of the first paragraph probably, and that itself would actually be giving you a little bit of a hint of what the focus is. Like, let's say if it's GBP slash USD, we have got the headline first saying that it's testing major ceiling. Again, it's actually approaching some sort of a resistance level, signaling reversal basically. But here it's got some hints about the PPI, the purchasing index as well, and then it's talking about October. It was actually revised upwards, and various other levels that it's actually hinting us of a high in August of 1.2270 price. So all these are hints just at the first glance or a view when you're actually, just going through a news type analysis on the headlines itself. Because what we will do next is just to see whether or not it's got some match with the heat map itself. So the heat map itself basically has got the whole hint for you, and the hint is basically to pick out the right pair, the right moving pair, the right pair that has got a strong, smooth trend as well, and the right pair meaning that it's also been moved or triggered by a sort of medium to high impact type event or risk event, or even data release and anything like that, or even speech by the bank, the central bank's governor, for example, and various other reasons that it could actually be moving. So hence the reason we want to actually mix and match between what's going on and what's going on in the market, why it's actually been triggered by what exactly. That's the whole crux of it, on how do you actually combine the news section with a heat map side of it. Okay, so as we can then look at AUD USD, we've got some German stocks. For the top German stocks are actually mentioned. We've got Euro versus the CHF. We've got some other on GBP USD. So let's now go on to the heat map section. Now you can always click on to tools. I've just opened up another window just to make it a little bit easier, so it's all ready and uploaded for now. So here, for example, the Forex heat map itself, let's take a look at each one row, especially not the columns but the rows, and to look at whether or not we have got highlighted rows that are really clear in giving us either all red boxes highlighted ones or all the green boxes. As you all would know already, the green ones signals bullishness and the red ones are signaling bearishness. So here we have got a very nice standard green highlighted boxes, and there are very many of them, meaning that almost all are actually highlighted, from the euro right down to the Chinese yuan. So that's for the JPY. Also, not too bad is the euro as well. It looks like it's got a lot of bullishness expected for the euro against the other currencies at the very top here. But what I'm interested in are basically the euro, of course. JPY has got this very clear row. Now we've got the euro, we've got the JPY, and then as we go further down, it tends to not be as clear as the euro and the JPY. So now as we go back right here, we have got some news on the euro. This is a euro cross. We have got some news on stocks as well, and that is basically from the eurozone, because it is actually from Germany, and that does then hint us that yes, we probably are looking at some movement in within the eurozone economically or maybe financially. There's probably various reasons, economic data releases, and as we have actually read just very briefly right here, this one here was about the euro slash CHF, but then it talks a little bit about ECB officials played down wage pressure and various other things. So these are hints that there is a bit of a match with what's going on or being announced as breaking news with what volatility and also movements are actually showing onto the heat map. So we've got that on the euro right there, and we can actually then see that amongst all these boxes right here, especially the green ones, because the green ones are the bullish ones, and bullishness is expected more than bearishness because we've got more green boxes all across here onto the euro against the other currencies. Then once we have actually looked at that uniform type box colors on each box, they are all green across, and that basically signals bullishness of the euro. Then we can actually look at the numbers in within each boxes, and then we look for high numbers. For example, this one here, 1.3. On the upside, we've got an average of 1 here against the Australian dollar, CAD, and the New Zealand dollar. But the highest one here is against the AUD. So that is signaling to us that the euro is picking up in momentum and also volatility, heading towards bullishness against the AUD. So AUD could definitely be more on the weak side, as it is shown right here. We've got mostly red, or those highlighted and non-highlighted ones, so that we can actually get the idea that it's more on the bearish side of it, mainly because of the redness that you can actually see, highlighted ones, and it's picking up as well, especially this one here, Australian dollar versus the JPY. So it is actually picking up in its fall or its downward type pressure. So with the euro here, we can actually then make a conclusion that it's probably one of the crosses that we can actually take a look at, mainly because of the news side of it. Probably now would probably be best for us to also check onto the economic calendar as well, so that the economic calendar will then give us that little bit of an oomph in terms of a push in making it a little bit clearer from the news to the economic data releases. Do we actually have got a long list of economic data to be released today as well, and for which country and which pair or which crosses could actually be impacted with volatility most. So what we do next is then now you can actually combine the use of the economic calendar as well, and you can do that by clicking onto the tool section. And once you click onto the tool section, you can always combine these three elements together, and they make out a very clear indication or hints or clues for you to understand which currency pair to actually pick out. So here, if we go onto the economic calendar, now let's take a look. You can always filter by country as well. You want to filter it by the most relevant countries or continents that are involved, especially the US, Canada, yes, not the other Latin American countries, for example, but also to include Euro, GDP, or the UK data and from the Eurozone especially. So here, because it's got a very wide selection of countries that it involves all the economic data releases for, so it's not really necessary. For the US, yes, it's really very crucial for you to include that. We've got November, so this one here, I take it that they're all today's and it's been released as well. That's why it's not highlighted. Now, if it's highlighted like this one here, so for today, we're just waiting on, let me just make sure that I'm at the right section of this economic calendar. So you've got November 28th right here. As we scroll downwards, we have got, I think that's Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. And we have got more data to be released until tomorrow, but tomorrow we have got more relevant ones. So we have got the unemployment rate from Japan. So that would definitely be, creating a little bit of momentum of volatility for the Japanese yen, of course, and for the yen crosses in general. So then we go on to, and you can see that, yes, it's, sort of a long list, a long docket of economic data releases tomorrow. But we want to be aware in filtering and focusing on the one that matters the most, especially moving the top currencies, moving the top pairs or crosses like the USD crosses, or all the major pair crosses are very, very essential. Okay, so there you go. And they're traded the most as well. So you want to be careful in not over analyzing the economic calendar on its own, whereby you're looking at every country, which is not necessary for that. So you want to focus on major pair countries. Basically, of course, the US is included there, and then you've got your 6 other currency pairs. You've got the euros, so the eurozone is really important. Then you've got Canada, you've got GBP, you've got yen, you've got CHF, which is from for the Swiss franc or Switzerland's currency. So these are the countries to actually select or filter in within this economic calendar itself. So I think you can actually do that by going on here, and you can filter it by that's medium impact. If it is orange flame, if it is a red flame right there, it is high impact. So we go on there. Oh, I don't see the red ones. I think maybe because I've got the red and orange together. And if you click on the countries, you can click and unclick. You can reset as well to default, of course. But you see, I've selected all this one here. Canada, United States, yes. In Europe, it's not. It's probably just the European Union. That should be good. Then you can just apply, right? And that will give you, the whole filter would actually filter according to what you're looking at. So if you want Euro, US, Canada, and all the major ones that I've said, you just select them all and then you click apply. So only these ones will come out. So you get more focused to that. And that is probably a better way to approach the economic calendar. Okay. And yes, that's basically it. And just to, if you go back here, and you can always, and cancel that. You can go back to what you've seen, got your tools section right there, and you can always, this one here has been supplied by the trading view. So the economic calendar right there. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. It's really simple to combine these tools, but your understanding on each tool is really essential. So next week, on Monday, next week, we would actually be covering other tools, but then to take you across to the technicality side of it in order for you to be able to mix and match what you see in terms of the tools, your calendar, your FX, heat map, and various others to trend analysis. So we'll take that first sort of plunge into the technical side of it, but then taking it slow and steady in order for you to understand how do you actually use these tools to get a better, clearer picture from conducting a trend analysis, for example, or even a technical analysis in order for us to look at reversal points or basically what's best for fundamentals that you have seen on the tool to actually combine it with is the clarity, strength, and smoothness of the trend of any selected pairs that you would like to analyze them. Okay, so that's basically it. We just want to keep it really simple, but we'll take you through next week, combining some of the tools with doing a simple trend analysis. So these are one of the ingredients to successful trading. With that, I want to thank you for your time. My name is Kenny Simon with you on TenAcademy's dashboard right here. And these are your ingredients to success once more. So take care all, and we'll see you again next week, same time at 12:30 Cyprus time. Bye-bye for now.